Welcome back to the Mystical Journey podcast. I am your host, Hervé Ageneza, and this is where we look and inquire, observe whether there is a way we can reach or change permanently to awakening or enlightenment. I don't know how you feel about what's happening in the world, but it seems to me that there is a lot of confusion. There is a lot of tension. It seems like almost every other day, one country invades another. Entertainment is through the roof. We have so much choices and sensory and distraction, and until then we still haven't found a way to end our misery. It almost seems like there's a dark cloud around our humanity, as if we have created a jail cell, and we keep on painting the walls and adding more equipment, make it look pretty. However, it's still nothing but a jail cell. So last time we talked about this approach to what we are concerned about. We want to end our misery forever. Unlike what most people might think, this has nothing to do with being positive or negative. We want to look at the world for what it is, not what it should be, not what it seems to be. And we have noticed that because of fear, the death of the ego, we have invented all these amazing techniques and ideas and dogmas and beliefs through various institutions to keep us sheltered and safe. And this is illusory, right? Because almost every person that I have met has tried to find a way to be happy. That's what they say, but forever. Not be happy and then be miserable and then be sad and be affected by everything that's moving. So, as we mentioned last time, because we're easily satisfied, anything we can have that's presented to us that's prepackaged by authority, we grab onto it, and then we feel comfortable and safe, and we hope for the best. And this is why we are not discontent enough, because if we are, then we can inquire, and then we can question and reject all these ideas, and hopefully we can uncover fear that's hidden behind the death of the ego, which were the beginning of eternity lies. And I'm referring to that death that happens when you're alive. And people have called it different names, and it's the state of simply being us outside of time And only then can human beings actually find what they talk about. Only then can you find love. Only then can you find compassion. Only then can you find total liberation, freedom, real freedom. All right. So now then, since we have something we can use, something that's always, in my opinion, very neglected, can we inquire and investigate whether observation can actually help us be free? Right? So is this, and I'm not referring to just watching or focusing or concentrating on something. I'm referring to simply observe. To be the observer, right? In the world that is moving, and observing the movement and everything in it. And not only are you able to be the observer, but you are also what's being observed. That could be there is another layer on top of it. The observer and what's being observed aren't distinct. They're one and the same thing. There are two worlds. One is the observer is coming from a world in which things are permanent, and what's being observed is what's changing. What would that matter to you? Because if you can observe and not only be the observer and also be what's being observed, what would actually make a difference? And I want us to inquire again together, and then if you think there is a way you have found for total liberation, feel free to put it into and send us a message, or include it in the chat room, or simply message us, because this is unlike what most things we see right now. We don't have 12 steps. We don't create systems for us to follow. We are actually trying to create something that don't need to be followed. We're not looking for followers. We're not looking for authority. We're not looking for gurus. We're not looking for systems. We have created a problem and we're looking for a solution. We are the problem that we have created, and we cannot be unconscious of these issues. Right? So, if the observer and what's being observed is one and the same thing, then there lies the end of separation. Right? So, because the reason why you and I can feel like we are actually different is because our inner state is in conflict. Conflict was created by separation. Separation was created by the fact that you and I think are actually fundamentally different. All right, so when you observe and you're actually not attached to what you're observing, but you understand and you have awareness that the observer and the observed are the one and the same thing, okay, then you can actually have total liberation. You can. It happens in an instant. And it happens when you understand and you also detach yourself, and then you accept and are aware that there is actually no separation between what's being observed and the observer. Then you can actually watch your thought system being what it is, right? Always creating thoughts, always creating ideas, always projecting yourself into the future, always remembering the past. Nothing but memories, always stuck in the past, but never actually fully present. You have never experienced full presence until you actually observe this world entirely, and not in the sense that it should be good or it should be bad. It should be all love. It should be equal. It should be free. No. Just observe exactly for what it is, without the need to comment, without the need to intervene, without the need to actually challenge or change anything. Then from there is a chance for us to actually be totally free. Because what is the point of actually being born and going through all these challenges, and then go through education, being raised by a family, being part of a custom and a system and a culture, getting a career, only feeling there's something missing, that it's permanent, that can only be fulfilled, but not by a world of things, but by a world of that can be touched. Right. So now that we can remove the separation between what's being observed and the observer, this also brings us that everything else has no separation. Right? There's absolutely, we stand behind time and behind space by looking at what's happening. Therefore, we're actually not getting caught up into what's evil and what's dark. And this makes a big difference. Can actually that bring? Can that be part of a system? Do you have to be a Hindu? Do you have to be a religious person? Do you need to have authority? Do you need to have some training? Is this a new dogma? Why don't you just? Why don't we all look into it and really get to the bottom of this and really resolve this issue? And how would that state or that feeling of being completely free, completely detached, completely blank, a mind that has to be blank, how would that feel? What would that look like? Well, a person who's totally awakened, a person who's enlightened, cannot be controlled, cannot be touched, cannot be hurt. This has fascinated a lot of people when they hear that you cannot be touched, you cannot be hurt, you cannot be controlled. You are totally free. Even in the world, even if your body, this avatar, still lives in this world of pattern. Because they're usually expecting not having to do anything, right? It's not about not doing anything, but it's completely this feeling of being almost above cloud, above ground, almost flying, but being present in this tangible world, right? And why does it mean that you cannot be hurt? You cannot be touched. You cannot be controlled. How is that possible? Because the mind, the ego, the thought system that makes who you are and that makes what people see and recognize is nothing but a collection of memories and ideas that can be hurt. That's what gets hurt. So when people say when we are in pain, right? We are in pain, and then we attached our own spin, our own emotion to it, then we suffer. But we can end all that suffering because only the ego, only the thought system can be hurt. But that which is source, that which is nameless, that which is real cannot be hurt, cannot be touched. Only the mind, through repetition and indoctrinament and conditioning, can actually be molded into something, into a pattern. But we are referring to another world that cannot be touched. And this is the beginning. This is the end of all fears, the end of the ego, the end of all resistance, and this is the beginning of enlightenment. All right. So this is not a belief that you need to believe or reject. What I'm inviting you to is to inquire. Inquiring into these things. Please understand that there is no authority. There is no God. There is no one surveying anywhere to verify if this is true. But you have the ability to verify for yourself by inquiring and observing if that actually is possible. And this doesn't have to happen over the next 20 years. And this can actually and will end the very same thing that you are concerned about, such as reincarnation. There is absolutely karma in all these concepts. By the way, all these are ideas created by the mind. The mind, the ego, the thought system is powerful, but is also very cunning. And the fact that it's cunning, that it keeps on attaching itself to values and ideals that can only be experienced by a person who's awakened. That means most people are hardly ever awakened, and you awaken or you're not. There's absolutely no negotiation about it. Either you're alive or you're dead. Yes, you cannot be partially alive or partially dead. And I'm talking about absolutely, permanently, without a doubt, completely awakened. Right. Not you go from one belief to another. You go from one organized belief to another. You go from Christianity to Islam, and then you jump on to whatever mysticism is, and then you should watch these people sometimes fly to India or South America to find enlightenment. It's fascinating to think that there is a place that you can go to and then travel there and then get initiated in a spiritual system and wear a robe and then sing a song and then do some ritual for a god and then partake into ayahuasca and talk to these entities. To think that that is going to offer enlightenment is completely delusional. There is absolutely no space, no place, no authority, no guru, no book, no holy text that can offer a place of permanency, because the very same thing that you're using to get to permanency is the very same thing that you use to get to eternity is born in time, and anything that's born in time is completely illusory. It's counterintuitive. You cannot use what's short term and that's basically the debatable for something that's completely truth and unchanging. So you can meditate all you want, 10,000 hours a day. You can astral project as much as you want. You can have the ability to read auras. You can have the ability to astral project and talk to the dead, and then all kinds of abilities, and that is nothing but extrasensory perception. There's nothing wrong with that, but we are only concerned about enlightenment. You and I are not against these things, and we're not actually ridiculing anybody who partakes in these things, because we are also familiar with these things, these abilities, these psychic powers, right? Crystal healing, remote viewing, Reiki, all kinds of abilities. They're real, but have these abilities, have they offered you a permanent change into which that's in a state that cannot be reversed, in which you cannot be touched, controlled? You can be absolutely free and forever. Is that possible? Or is it all just smoke and mirrors? It's a bit ridiculous when you see what people consider as spirituality these days, right? Because there's more clubs almost every other day. A new center pops up, and they offer this ridiculous ways and techniques to access new abilities and connect with entities and ancestors and gods and this and that. It'll never end. The reason why it doesn't end is because it's born from the mind, from the thought system. The thought system has absolutely no limit to what it can create to make itself very comfortable. Because it's comfortable, well, in order to be comfortable, it has to conform. To conform is by default, is to resist the flow of life, which means is to accept separation. Once you are internally separated, you have inner separation, then it's easy for you to fight your neighbor and to find problems after problems and to be miserable, right? Then you partake into taking and being greedy and being jealous, and then completely depleted of your powerful energy, right? So this is all connected, but this is what leads me to one thing that I find really extremely important that I would like to cover is the idea, or not even an idea, relationships. How could relationships look to someone who's completely enlightened, completely free? What would relationship look like? Could this person actually experience what people always want? Could this be love? Could this be unconditional love that people talk about? Most of the time it's merely concepts, but is it possible that if you observe and you completely detach, you could actually experience true love, whether you call it romantic or not? Right? How would that actually impact your daily life? We are concerned about really finding solutions that are practical for the daily life. What would that mean to your business, your friends, your loved ones, the relationship with yourself? What would that mean? Full of vitality and energy to a point where you actually can find that joy that is eternal, unlike happiness that always fluctuates depending on situations. Is it possible? Well, we'll explore that into the next episode. And in the meantime, I would love to hear from you and see what you think. Feel free to like, subscribe, and share all this content with your loved ones. And make sure you don't miss any of our episodes. And I look forward to our next talk. Thank you.